The garden looked flawless, like it had been staged for a photo shoot rather than a real moment. Warm string lights glowed around the trees. White flowers lined the stone walkway with perfect symmetry. A long table stood ready, holding a pristine cake topped with 12 unlit candles. Wrapped presents sat neatly arranged, untouched. Rows of chairs waited in silence, every one of them empty. Before we continue, let us know where in the world you're watching from. We love seeing how far our stories reach. Emily sat in her wheelchair at the center of the garden, as if the night had been built around her and, yet not for her. She wore a soft pink dress she had chosen weeks ago, imagining this day. Lace sleeves brushed her arms, a ribbon tied carefully at her waist. Nurse Lisa had brushed her hair that morning, smoothing every strand into place. Emily had asked to look nice, just in case someone came. Her hands rested politely in her lap. Her posture was straight. Her expression was composed. Only her eyes betrayed her. They stayed locked on the gate, waiting. But her eyes never left the gate. Every tiny sound made her heart jump. Every rustle of leaves felt like footsteps. Every second stretched longer than the last. Behind her, the cake stood tall and perfect. In front of her, nothing happened. A few steps away, her father watched helplessly. Asher, a young man 35, aged with light beard cross, stood frozen in a sharp blue suit. His hands half raised like he didn't know what to do with them. He was used to crowds, used to attention, used to people showing up the moment his name appeared on an invitation. Tonight, his name meant nothing. He had done everything right. Personal invites, private messages, extra security, a safe, beautiful party. He had promised parents nothing would go wrong. Still, no one came. Some parents had counseled politely. Some stopped responding. Some said their kids felt uncomfortable around wheelchairs. Some blamed schedules. Some stayed silent. Asher knew the real reason. They didn't want their children asking hard questions. They didn't want to explain why a girl their age couldn't stand, or run, or dance. They chose comfort over kindness. Asher clenched his jaw as he looked at his daughter. Emily didn't cry. She never did in front of others. "Dad," she said quietly, her voice steady. "Maybe they're just late." Asher forced a smile and nodded. Maybe. He hated himself for lying. Nurse Lisa shifted uncomfortably nearby. Staff members pretended to adjust decorations that were already perfect. Nobody knew where to look. Asher moved closer and knelt beside Emily, so his eyes were level with hers. "I can light the candles," he said gently. "We can cut the cake." Emily hesitated. Her fingers tightened slightly against the fabric of her dress. "Can we wait a little longer?" she asked. "Just a few minutes." His chest tightened. "Of course," he said, and the minutes dragged on. The lights flickered softly. Somewhere beyond the property walls, laughter drifted in from another house, another party, another kid surrounded by friends. Emily swallowed and stared down at her hands. "I practiced what I was going to say to them," she admitted. "I was going to tell them they could push my chair if they wanted, and that I'm really good at board games." Asher looked away so she wouldn't see his eyes. "I would have liked them," she added quietly, "even if they didn't like me." Silence followed. Then near the tall iron gate, at the far end of the garden, a small shadow moved. Asher noticed first. His head snapped up, his body tensing. Someone was there. The gate creaked open slowly. A little boy stepped inside. He was small, maybe 4 or 5. He wore a blue knitted sweater that looked a size too big, dark pants, and shoes worn thin at the edges. His hair was neatly combed but uneven, like someone had tried their best with simple tools. He held a small green gift box, tied with an orange ribbon. He gripped it with both hands, like it mattered more than anything in the world. He stopped when he saw Emily. His eyes flicked to the wheelchair, then to her dress, then to her face. He didn't look scared. He looked nervous. Asher stepped forward instinctively. "Hey," he said carefully. "Who are you here with?" The boy glanced back toward the gate, then shook his head. "I came alone," he said softly. Emily leaned forward slightly. Her heart began to race. Asher frowned. "Why?" The boy swallowed and shifted his feet. "I saw the lights every day," he said. "I walk past here with my mum. She cleans houses. I asked her what it was for." Asher said nothing. "She said it was a birthday." The boy continued. "I asked if kids were coming. She said probably." He looked at Emily again, this time directly. "But I didn't see anyone," he said, "so I thought I should come." The garden felt impossibly quiet. Emily stared at him, her chest aching in a way she didn't recognize, something warm and sharp at the same time. The boy took a small step closer and held out the gift. "I don't have much," he said, "but my mom helped me wrap it." Emily's lips trembled. Asher stood frozen as he watched his daughter's eyes brighten for the first time that night. The boy looked up at her, uncertain but sincere. "It's your birthday," he said. "Right." Emily nodded slowly, afraid the moment would disappear if she moved too fast. "Yes," she whispered. "It is." The boy smiled, a small, nervous smile that revealed one missing tooth. He stepped closer and carefully placed the green box in her lap. His hands lingered for a moment, like he wanted to make sure it stayed. "I'm Liam," he said. "I live near here." Emily looked down at the gift. No one had ever handed her something like this before. Not because they had to, not because they were paid, but because they wanted to. "I'm Emily," she said softly. "Thank you for coming." Liam nodded like he had accomplished something important. Asher finally found his voice. "Liam," he said gently, "does your mum know you're here?" "She does," Liam replied. "She was working across the street. I asked if I could come. She said only if I was polite." Emily smiled. Liam relaxed a little, like he'd been holding his breath the entire walk through that gate. Asher exhaled slowly. His eyes burned. He turned away for a second and pressed his fingers against his face. When he turned back, he looked composed. But something inside him had shifted. A tight place in his chest loosened, placed by something heavy and unfamiliar. "Would you like some cake?" Asher asked. Liam's eyes widened. He nodded quickly, then caught himself, and nodded again, slower. Staff moved at once. Candles were lit. The cake was cut. Plates were placed on the table that had been waiting all evening, like it had been holding its breath too. Emily watched Liam sit across from her. His legs swung because they didn't reach the ground. He held the fork carefully, concentrating on every bite like the moment mattered. "This is the best cake I've ever had," he said honestly. Emily laughed. The sound surprised her. It felt strange and wonderful in her chest, like it had been waiting a long time to come out. "I helped choose it," she said proudly. Liam looked impressed. "Then you have good taste." They talked slowly, at first simple things. Favorite colors, favorite cartoons, favorite snacks. But the words came easily. No effort, no fear. Liam talked about his mum, how she worked long days, how she was tired but always smiled at night, how she told him stories, even when she fell asleep halfway through them. He talked about their small apartment, the cracked window that whistled when the wind got strong. Emily listened closely. No one ever talked to her like this. Not like she was fragile, not like she needed careful words, just like she was another kid sitting at a table on her birthday at one point. Emily spoke without thinking. "I can't run." The words slipped out before she could stop them. Liam paused. He looked at her legs, then back at her face. There was no fear in his eyes, no confusion. "That's okay," he said simply. "I'm not very fast either." Emily blinked. "Really?" "Yeah," he said. "I trip a lot. My mum says I rush too much." Emily laughed again, this time louder, freer. Asher watched from a distance, his heart breaking and healing at the same time. He realized he was seeing his daughter as she truly was, not someone to be guarded, but someone to be known. Time passed, and somehow, the garden didn't feel empty anymore. It felt full, full of voices, full of presence, full of something quiet and real. Then footsteps echoed near the gate again. Asher stiffened. A woman stood there, tired eyes, simple clothes, hands clenched nervously at her sides like she expected to be turned away. "I'm sorry," she said. "Quickly, I came to get my son." Liam turned. "Mum," she hurried over, worried. "I told you not to bother anyone." "You're not bothering us," Asher said firmly. The woman froze when she recognized him. "I'm sorry," she said again. "He just wanted to give a gift." Asher shook his head. "He gave more than that." Emily looked up at her. "Son is my first guest," she said softly. "He made my birthday better." The woman's eyes filled with tears. She covered her mouth, then lowered her hand slowly. "I didn't know," she whispered. "We didn't know anyone lived here like this." Asher nodded. "Most people don't know the important things." He knelt in front of Liam. "Thank you for being brave enough to come." Liam shrugged. She looked lonely. The words landed hard, heavier than any accusation. Asher stood, and in that moment, he made a decision he had never made before. "You're welcome here any time," he said. "Both of you." The woman hesitated, then nodded. More chairs were pulled out. More cake was served. The night deepened. The lights felt warmer now. Emily felt warm too, not just because of the lights, but because someone had chosen her. When Liam stood up, he reached out his hand. "Do you want to open the gift?" he asked. Emily looked at her father. Asher nodded. She carefully unwrapped it. Inside was a small wooden music box, simple, worn. When she turned the handle, a soft tune played. Uneven, but beautiful. "I fixed it," Liam said. "It was broken." Before, Emily pressed her lips together. For a moment she couldn't speak. Her hands trembled slightly. "I love it," she finally whispered. Liam smiled wide. Asher watched his daughter hold that box like it was treasure, and he understood something clearly for the first time that night. This wasn't charity. This wasn't pity. This was connection, and it was only the beginning. The music faded into the night air, but Emily kept turning the handle again and again, like the sound might disappear forever if she stopped. Each note felt like proof. The evening had been real proof. Someone had come for her. Liam watched closely, perched on the edge of the chair across from her, feet dangling, hands on his knees. He looked proud in a quiet way, like he had done something important, even if he didn't fully understand why. "It used to stop," he said, "but I fixed the wheel inside." Emily looked at him. "You fixed it yourself?" He nodded. "My mum says broken things can still work if you're patient." Emily smiled. The words stayed with her. Asher stood a few steps back, watching a scene he had never imagined. His daughter leaned forward. Her shoulders were relaxed. Her eyes were alive. He realized how rarely he had seen her like this. Liam leaned closer to the wheelchair. "Does it get boring?" he asked carefully. "Sitting all the time." Emily thought for a moment. "Sometimes," she admitted. "But it's worse when people pretend I'm not there." Liam frowned. "I can see you, I know," she said softly. "That's why I like you." He smiled wide at that. The staff moved farther away, giving them space. Liam's mum stayed seated, hands folded tightly in her lap. Still unsure if she truly belonged in a place like this, Emily noticed. "Do you want to see the flowers?" Emily asked her. The woman looked surprised. "Me?" "Yes." She nodded, and stood. Asher followed, pushing Emily slowly along the stone path. Liam walked beside them, pointing out whatever caught his attention. "That one smells strong," he said, leaning close to a bush. "My mom likes flowers that smell strong." Emily leaned in and inhaled. "I like that one too." They moved slowly. No rush, no pressure. For the first time, the night felt calm. Then Liam stopped suddenly. "Can I push?" he asked. Asher paused. Instinct rose in him. Fear, control, habit. But Emily answered before he could. "You can." Asher hesitated, then stepped aside. Liam placed his small hands on the handles and pushed gently at first. The chair barely moved. "You can push more," Emily said. He did. The wheels rolled over the grass. When the chair bumped slightly, Liam laughed. "So," he said quickly. "I like it," Emily replied. They went around the garden like that, slow circles, laughter cutting through the quiet. Asher watched, and his chest ached, not from pain this time, from relief. Liam's mum wiped her eyes discreetly. She had never seen her son so careful with anything. When they returned to the table, Emily's energy was fading, but her smile stayed. "I've never had a friend at my birthday before," Emily said suddenly. Liam tilted his head. "Really?" She nodded. "Usually it's just adults." "That sounds boring," he said. Emily laughed. "It is." Asher felt the weight of every missed year pressing down on him. A clock chimed softly from inside the house. Liam's mom stood. "We should go," she said reluctantly. Liam's shoulders dropped. "Already it's late," she said gently, "and tomorrow's a school day." Emily felt a familiar ache, returned, the kind that came when good things ended too soon. Liam noticed. "I can come back," he said quickly, "if that's okay." Emily looked at her father. Asher stepped forward. "You can," he said, "if your mom agrees." The woman looked startled. "Sir, I don't want to cause trouble." "You aren't," Asher said firmly. "You brought something rare into this house tonight." She searched his face and found no pity, only sincerity. "We can come," she said finally, glimmed. "I'll bring my board game." At the gate, Liam turned one last time. "Happy birthday," he said again, quieter now. Emily lifted the music box slightly. "This is my favorite gift." Liam nodded, satisfied. The gate closed. The lights dimmed. The garden emptied. But the silence was different now. Asher pushed Emily toward the house. Did it hurt? He asked softly, when no one came. Emily thought for a moment. At first, she admitted, then it stopped hurting when Liam came. Asher stopped walking. I failed you, he whispered. Emily turned her head to look at him. You didn't, she said. You just didn't know what I needed. He swallowed hard. I thought protecting you meant keeping the world away. Emily reached out and touched his hand. I want the world, she said, even the hard parts. The night, Asher couldn't sleep. He replayed the evening again and again, not the empty chairs, not the silence, but the moment a little boy had walked through his gate without fear. The next day, Asher cancelled meetings. For the first time in years, the company ran without him. That afternoon, Liam arrived with a small backpack. Emily waited by the window. They played games. They argued over rules. They laughed when pieces fell to the floor. Liam forgot about the wheelchair, and somehow, Emily did too. Days pass. Liam kept coming. Sometimes he brought stories. Sometimes he brought nothing. Sometimes he brought questions that made adults uncomfortable. What? Do people stare? He asked once. Emily shrugged. Cliff, they don't know me. Then they should, he said simply. One afternoon, Liam's mom spoke quietly to Asher. She's different now, she said. My son talks about her every day. Asher nodded. So does my daughter. Weeks passed. Emily grew louder, braver. She spoke up when nurses talked over her. She laughed without checking who was listening. Asher watched something inside her unlock. One evening, Liam asked, why don't other kids come here? Emily answered honestly, they think I'm fragile. Liam shook his head. You're not? How do you know? She asked. Because you're still smiling, he said. Asher overheard them from the doorway, and in that moment, he understood something with painful clarity. The problem had never been Emily's chair. It had been the walls he built around her, and he finally knew it was time to take them down. That night, Asher sat by the window in his study and watched the city breathe, lights turning on, lights turning off. Somewhere people laughed. Somewhere someone cried. It lives unfolding quietly beyond the walls he had built. He understood now. The silence had been his choice, not fate, not circumstance. Early the next morning, he went to Emily's room. She was awake. I was thinking, she said before he could speak. About yesterday. So was I, he replied. They sat in the kind of silence that no longer felt heavy. I don't want another party like before, Emily said carefully. I don't want people to come because of you. I want them to come because of me. The words cut clean and clear. You deserve that, Asher said, and for the first time he meant it without fear. That same day, he did something different. He removed the strict gate schedule, reduced the guards, told staff to stop hovering. He let the mansion feel lived-in, not protected from life. He called the local school himself. My daughter uses a wheelchair, he said calmly. I want her to meet other children. I want them to meet her. The line went quiet. I'm not asking for sympathy, Asher continued. I'm asking for honesty. The principal listened. Then more calls followed. Community centers, therapists, parent groups. No press, no announcements, no armaments, no carefully managed image. Just truth. Emily watched everything from the garden. Liam sat beside her, swinging his legs. You look nervous, he said. I am, Emily admitted. That's okay, Liam said. I was nervous when I came here too. Emily smiled at him. Why weren't you scared? He thought for a moment. Because being lonely was worse. That Saturday afternoon, the garden filled slowly. One family, then another, then another. Parents hung back at first. Kids stepped forward, curious, cautious. Emily's chest tightened. Old fear tried to return. Liam moved closer. You don't have to be perfect, he whispered. Just be you. Emily nodded, grounding herself. A boy approached. Can your chair go on grass? Yes, Emily said. Do you want to try pushing? The boy nodded eagerly. Another kid asked if they could draw on the pavement. Chalk appeared. Laughter followed. Then questions came on as direct. Why can't you walk? Does it hurt? Were you born like this? Emily answered without flinching. No. Sometimes. Yes. The questions stopped feeling sharp. They became bridges instead of walls. Asher stood at the edge of the garden and watched something he had never allowed to happen. His daughter wasn't being protected. She was being accepted. Liam ran between groups, introducing people like it was the most normal thing in the world. "This is Emily. She's really funny. She beats me at cards." Parents relaxed. Conversations formed, shoulders lowered. 1. Mother approached Asher quietly. "I almost didn't come," she admitted. "I was afraid of what my son might ask." Asher nodded. "So was I." Then he looked back at the kids in the garden. "But I'm glad he did." As the sun lowered, the garden felt full, not with decorations, but with voices, with presence, with realness. That evening, after everyone left, Emily sat quietly. "I'm tired," she said. "But happy," Asher added. Emily nodded. Liam helped push her inside. "The same time next week?" he asked. Emily smiled. Yes. Weeks turned into months. The garden became a place of gathering, a place of learning, a place where questions were allowed. Emily's confidence grew. She spoke more, corrected people when they spoke over her, laughed loudly without checking who was listening. Asher noticed she no longer watched the gate with fear. She watched it with expectation. Liam kept coming, always on time, always thoughtful. Sometimes he brought broken toys to fix, sometimes stories from school, sometimes silence, just sitting beside her. One afternoon Emily asked him, "Do people treat you differently because you're poor?" Liam shrugged. "Sometimes." "How does it feel?" Emily asked. He thought, "Like they decided who I am without asking." Emily nodded slowly. "That's how it feels for me too." They shared that understanding quietly. Asher listened from a distance, realizing how much his daughter had grown without him controlling the process. That night, he wrote letters. Not invitations letters, apologies to parents he had intimidated, to institutions he had tried to control, to himself. He changed the foundation his company supported, shifting it toward accessibility first, inclusion without conditions, no cameras, no speeches, change without performance. Emily noticed. "You're different," she said one evening. "So are you," Asher replied. Months later, Emily turned 13. This time, she planned the day. Herself? No theme, she said. No matching colors, just people. The garden filled before the cake even arrived. Liam stood beside her as gifts piled up, not expensive, but personal. A book with notes written inside, a bracelet made by hand, a drawing. Emily touched each one carefully. When the cake came, she raised her hand. "I want to say something," she said. The noise faded. "I used to think something was wrong with me because no one came," she said steadily. "Now I know something was wrong with how people were taught to see me." She paused. "And one person saw me anyway." Her eyes found Liam. Applause rose strong. "Honest." Liam looked down, embarrassed after the party. When the garden emptied, Emily and Asher sat together. "I don't feel invisible anymore," Emily said. Asher closed his eyes. "I wish I had known sooner." "You know now," Emily replied. "That's enough." Years passed. Emily entered school with confidence. She spoke at assemblies. She advocated for ramps and access without apology. Liam studied engineering. He loved fixing things, especially things other people gave up on. Asher stepped back from the spotlight. He funded quietly. He listened more than he spoke. One day Emily wheeled herself across a small stage at a community event. Liam stood in the crowd. Emily told the story not as tragedy, not as inspiration, as truth. And at the end, she said one final line. "No one came to my birthday party until someone decided I was worth coming for." She looked at Liam. He smiled because both of them knew that one small choice had changed everything.